Hello, everyone, and welcome to Playhouse Live. As the cameras are already broken, there we go. I fixed it.
Nice.
Welcome to a special Halloween edition of Playhouse Live. This is our weekly video game news podcast that we do live every week here on twitch.tv/playhouselive. John, how are you doing this fine Halloween evening?
I'm doing good. I'm glad we played some Phasmophobia. Got a little spoopy up in here because that's all we got thanks to pandemic. But
Yeah.
I'm having a blast.
I'm a little frazzled, to be honest.
Are you really?
That was a lot. No, it wasn't super scary, but
No.
it did require a lot of mental energy.
Mental, and I'll even say it was a little more thriller-y, which is what I was hoping for.
Yeah.
Like the lights flashing, all that stuff. I kind of like that. That's more effective to me than just the jump scare. So
Yeah. So happy Halloween, everyone. We know it's a little bit of a different one this year, as we just keep hearing, and I'm sorry to reiterate, but yeah, everyone knows it at this point. But we're glad you're spending your Halloween evening with us to talk about
Yes.
video games and what we love about them. So yeah, I guess we can just jump right into it. We got a lot to
Jump
cover
right in.
today. So yeah, the first one up is going to be Next Gen Arena. We were talking about Next Gen Arena is a segment where we like to talk about what PlayStation and Xbox have been doing this week
yes.
with regards to how they're promoting their consoles and who's doing the better things today. I'm calling it the unboxing match, John.
All right. I'm good with this.
Yeah. Both embargoes lifted a little bit for each, and so streamers and influencers were showing off these boxes and unboxing them and showing off the consoles a little bit more and giving their thoughts on some stuff. So the first embargo that was lifted was the PlayStation 1.
Yes.
I'm going to switch to the video here just to show you guys this. This is Jeff Keighley's little show-off thing that he did with the PS5, holding it in his hands, talking a little bit about how it feels and how weighty it is. Got to fix another camera on my end. Sorry about that. Doop. So yeah, this was just Keighley showing off the console itself. We got some side-by-sides of it with other consoles. This is a big boy.
Yeah. It is chunky, thick
Yeah.
with two C's.
Yeah. It always looked like a big evil genius villain headquarters. But yeah, even more when you stack up to I always thought looking at them side by side, or looking at the concepts that the Xbox Series X could be the bigger, beefier one. I suppose
I did too.
it's not a cube because it's a rectangle. It's like a cuboid.
Yeah.
So it is more like density, I guess.
Mhm.
From what Keighley was talking about, the PS5 is sort of like light at the top because it's just all airflow pushing it up into those fans that you see.
Yeah.
But yeah, that looks cool. And then the actual, what I want to talk about today really, and what the meat of Next Gen Arena is going to be today, where these two are going to duke it out, is the actual unboxing.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm going to pull up the Easy Allies video right now, as you just heard, if you're listening. This is the Easy Allies unboxing. There were other people that got it, but I just chose to show theirs. For me, unboxing a new console is, it's a once in a decade experience, right? So you want it to feel good. You want it to feel like you've earned your purchase, and you want it to feel, majestic and feeling like you're entering a new era. One of the boxes I thought was really good from opening it when I was a kid was the PS2 box, if you remember that big, gorgeous blue one with the PS2 logo on
It
front.
stuck out so well, and that was actually the first console I bought myself for my summer job. And
Yeah.
I remember that one, and I still remember the blue, and it is gorgeous and a special place in my heart, honestly.
Yeah. So yeah, this is the PS5 box. Again, nothing too groundbreaking, nothing too innovative. Just shows the box, gives a few features here and there. Actually getting into the box, if I can skip ahead a little bit. You see that they've...
I like
go
how
ahead.
simple it is.
Yeah, it's simple. It's elegant. When you open the boxes, you'll see here you get access to all the cables and the manuals and stuff. I always like to get that out of the way first. Whenever I'm getting a new shiny thing, I always like to leave the big thing for last, whether it's a phone or a laptop or whatever. But I always like to make sure all the cables and stuff are there first.
Yeah.
I don't know why. But yeah, As soon as you're done digging out in that, you have to slide your hand in here to actually get to the console itself, which you can see. If I skip ahead again a little bit, you get the base with this one as well, which is cool, but also necessary for the PS5, as I don't imagine a lot of people are going to put it in the side.
I might have to, honestly. I hate that I'm going to have to, but I don't think I've got the space to stand it up.
Doesn't look right. It looks stupid.
Oh no, trust me. Don't get me wrong. It looks stupid. But yeah, I'm gonna try and figure it out before we get the console. But I might have to lay it down, and it kind of upsets me a little bit.
Yeah. So again, you see them like unwrapping the PS5 here. There was the 2 styrofoam things, and then there was the plastic wrapping. Again, simple. It works. Other people do it. But nothing groundbreaking, John. Nothing making me feel like this is like
to get you hot.
An extra. Nothing getting me hot, John. You know what I mean? And so this is where I bring up the Xbox's box. And again, I'm going to throw it to Jeff Keighley's Twitter here to show this off. What this looks like inside. Let me get a full screen here. Look at that beauty, right? You just slide open the box. It's at a diagonal thing. It's beautiful. All the cables and stuff are at the top, but like you can, as soon as you open the box, you see what you're getting into. Yeah. The colors are nice. It's all black inside. They've got this little thing around it, Power Your Dreams. John, I think it
looks sexy.
Yeah, it looks like, and again, like I feel like it's easy reboxed as well. You just like easily slot that thing back in. I think this is a no contest, to be honest. I think Xbox have won the unboxing match. I don't know if you agree.
I agree.
Yeah.
No, I 100% agree. I think it looks better. I think it kind of leans more toward this is a new thing. This is your new console. Welcome to the next generation. Instead of just sliding out and here we go. Yeah. So yeah, I do like that one a lot more, and it does feel like a grandioso thing because I'm with you. I think opening your box, no matter what new toy it is, needs to be kind of fun and big. I love my OnePlus. That was one of the best unboxings I've had because it's so different. You got a long rectangular box, but your phone is smaller than that. But they really understood what you were supposed to do with an unboxing.
I'm showing the side by sides just for people to get an impression of it. I don't know what the Xbox Series S box looks like. I wasn't able to look that up. I imagine it can't really go for the similar vibe. So maybe dogging some points in that. But yeah, for me, Xbox definitely has the better feel of the next gen when opening their box. This won't matter when we're actually like playing these systems. We're not gonna like be looking at the box all the time, but it's just like little things like that makes it feel like next gen, and that's what I want right now more than anything. These weeks leading up to it,
like how does it feel?
Yeah.
How does it feel? Like that controller? Like I don't understand like how, especially the PlayStation 5 controller. How does that feel? I need to know. Wait, hold on. Wait, Finn. Finn, hold on. I think I've got some breaking news.
Oh, okay.
Yes. I believe I have breaking news.
Oh, okay.
Hold on. Yes.
What's happening? Breaking news. John, what the hell is this? What's the news?
What's oh my god!
Oh, snap.
What?
He's got a DualSense, everyone.
Oh my god! I have a DualSense? You know what? You want to ask some questions? Let's open this bad boy right now. Live unboxing right now. I didn't tell Finn I had this. And Finn, I know how much we love Papa Phil. This thing has been in my shot the entire time we've been streaming.
Oh my god.
So you see my Mario boxes? Mario, it's been sitting there the entire time.
Oh my god. You're crazy.
So go back and look at let's see. Let's see how this feels.
Let's crack this bad boy open. We got an unboxing of our own here.
Exactly. So
you might win it back for PlayStation. If this feels like a next gen unboxing you're doing right now, we could have a new winner. It could be it's all open, folks.
It's all open. All right, let me get this going real fast. I hate that I ripped that, but you know what? Let's just
chat. I didn't make that breaking news intro. That just happened. I had no control over that.
Yeah, that's how it came.
Yeah. Just John said the words breaking news, and then suddenly, like, I was hearing nonsense in my ear. I don't know what happened.
It was there. I don't know how that happened. All right, so they're making this a lot harder than it needs to be. All right, there we go. All right. So you actually have to slide it out up.
It's a box in a box.
It's a box in a box.
Oh.
And then we got more. I don't, what?
It's just kind of in there. You know what I mean? It's like...
Yeah, it's there's nothing holding it. It's just snug in there.
Yeah.
All right. Our first taste of the PlayStation 5 and the next generation.
John is holding the next gen in his hands. Right. Initial impressions, John. What you got? Hold it as if you're playing it. Give me a...
Oh my god.
Okay. All right.
Oh my... Oh, baby. Oh, holy shit.
Yeah?
Okay, yeah. This is next gen. This... I like... I don't know if we can be able to see it. I like the textures on there. These triggers, though... Holy shit. Will you give me a PlayStation controller real fast?
Yeah.
That is a sexy controller.
So what we already know is that it looks like sort of a happy medium between the DualShock 4, which is my favorite controller of all time, just because I'm a PlayStation kid, and the Xbox controller, which is largely regarded as the best controller. So it seems like a happy medium between the two.
It's a very happy medium. Weight-wise, real fast, almost the same. I actually think the DualShock 4 might be a little bit heavier just on quick feel.
Huh.
Hold on. I'll do all the button presses real fast.
Yeah. Click.
Okay. Oh, let's not cut myself. Let's pop that back in. Ooh. Okay. There's a little bit of resistance, but the button press actually is a lot more tactile feeling, and it's a fuller feeling press when it comes to that. Oh. Granted, this has been my controller for a long time, so I'm not going to go the idea of like, oh, this is looser. That just happens. But everything feels more responsive. Oh. Okay, I don't know if we're going to be able to see this on camera, but the actual... Oh, you can. There's actually like tire treading.
Nice.
So it actually has a track feeling behind it. So it's very, very nice. The D-pad, dude, holy shit, that is nice.
That is one thing that has been bothering me about controllers for a long time, is that the DualShock 4 was better with this, but my hands are constantly sweating when I'm playing games. It always slides off them analog sticks. Does it feel like there's a little bit more grip? And granted, it's a new controller, but like,
it's a new controller. I feel like there's more grip, and weirdly enough, whatever they decided to go with on the actual buttons itself, like my finger is actually catching. Like I can't, like obviously forcibly moving, sliding off, but if I just drop it there, it takes a little bit. Like I can, comparative to, there's nothing that's stopping it, and I'm using the same exact force. So like this is, dude, this right here, this is exactly what next gen. Get this out of the shot.
Feels right.
This is what
I'm still disappointed that the colors aren't on the sacred symbols. It does look more modern, but it's just something's lost.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I like the color a lot better. Oops, this way.
Yeah.
But the control, like the triggers alone, are absolutely. Oh, I didn't notice that. So let's see if I can get it in the shot. There's no share or options at the top. They're just symbols now.
Right, yeah. And they don't call it the share menu anymore. They call it the create menu.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Tim asks, how is the D-pad designs individual buttons like Switch, or is it still a full pad interconnected underneath like other controllers? Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's interconnected.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm testing it with the DualShock 4. It feels interconnected.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice. Could you do like one more thing for me real quick? Could you imagine in your head that there's a PS5 out there connected to that controller and just like give a press of the PlayStation button?
You see the press of the PlayStation button? Yeah. Hopefully it has power.
It
does.
Oh, it does.
It's got lights.
I very much like the less glaring light bar.
Yeah.
Granted, it's pointed at your face, but it's like smaller.
Yeah, exactly. So
So there won't be the glare on the TV anymore that people hate as well.
Ooh,
And
I like that.
one thing that's going to be very interesting to see is the battery life on this thing, because that was the one big complaint with the DualShock 4.
It's okay. I do like my biggest complaint, and it's always because I have giant hands, is I've never liked the DualShock how small it's been to me.
Yeah.
This feels so right in my hands.
Nice.
And even not being offset on the analog sticks, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
This is great. All right, I'm gonna get taken away from you. Rose wants
to. She wants to play with it.
She wants to play with it. I'm like, all right, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I picked it up yesterday.
So then I wonder, are there any games on PC that use haptic feedback? Because obviously you won't get that aspect of it until you get the actual PS5.
I don't know. I know I saw someone yesterday, because this actually came out yesterday.
Nice.
Hooked it up to their PC, and it was actually playing Street Fighter, and they said it was fine.
Yeah.
And they were playing with the D-pad, and they were like, it's fine. It works great. It's exactly how I remember it. So, yeah, this is first step, and I love it.
Nice. Other outlets who were able to play a little bit of Astro's Playroom were talking a lot about the haptic feedback. Jason Schreier was like going nuts about it on Twitter. He was saying it's wild. The combo of rumble and haptic feedback adaptive triggers feels more next gen than any graphical improvements we've seen yet. And again, like, they're only allowed to talk about Astro's Playroom and what in terms of what they played from what I gather. So it's highly possible that, you know, because it is supposed to be a demo of the DualSense, that game that comes packed in with your PS5. So time will tell if developers actually utilize that. The Elite controller for Xbox has actually had haptic feedback for a long time, but because it's just not been standard, like, developers haven't felt the need to put it in. But now that we're in this next gen world, hopefully we'll get some more of that. But yeah, that's haptic feedback, battery life, and just general feel. Are the three things I'm looking at for the controller. Yeah, that was a surprise. You sprung it on me. Yeah, nice. Next we can actually reach out and touch the next generation. Now we're that close.
It actually blew my mind when I stopped and picked it up at Best Buy. It was in my truck, and I was like, "It's real. It's here, and I cannot believe it." Come on, stand up to me.
It's having a little trouble, a little wobbly, but there it is. Nice one. Next to the GameCube.
Yep.
That's a nice looking controller. However, I will say that the box looked sad. So I'm still going to give the point to Xbox.
Yes, Xbox still gets it. That box,
Yeah.
I was like, I was expecting it to be kind of like cradled, at least with the cardboard, like where it just stuck in there. No, you can shake the bitch and it's going to be like rattling all over the place. I was like, all right, that's not very next gen-y for me. So,
very jealous. But yeah, Xbox wins yet another week of next gen arena. If you're keeping score, they have won 2 of the 2 we've done so far. So they're really running away with it.
There. 2 for 2.
So yeah, Phil Spencer doing a good job. If it, unfortunately, you know, Sid Schumann, Herman Hulst, if it was a contest on, you know, which controller John happened to have this week, PlayStation might have won that, but Xbox wins. So moving on to our next story of the day. It's another biggie. Everyone's been talking about it this week. Cyberpunk 2077 has been delayed until December 10th. It's third public delay overall. A day after they tweeted out no more delays. A day after they tweeted out from their PR account. And in the announcement tweet, they go over some of the reasons for it. They said the biggest challenge for us right now is shipping the game on current gen, next gen, and PC at the same time, which requires us to prepare and test 9 versions of the game while working from home. And again, you remember a few weeks on the show, we covered the game going gold. Normally that means the game is finished, it's playable, they're just fixing bugs and stuff, but it's being printed onto disc now. So people might be confused why after going gold they would delay it further, to which they said it doesn't mean going gold doesn't mean we stop working on it and raising the quality bar. On the contrary, this is the time where many improvements are made, which will then be distributed via a day 0 patch. This is the time period we undercalculated. John, just going off that so far, what's your initial take on this game being delayed again?
It kind of sucks. I'll be absolutely honest with you, but I kind of get it. I mean, it's one of those, if you miscalculated, you miscalculated, but that's someone higher up that didn't really do a good job actually of that is your job technically as being a, let's say, a project manager. Your job is to calculate time and then have time built in to actually, all right, we might go over here, but if we go under here, this is how it ends up. And I mean, 21 days is kind of sucks, but on the flip side of it, I'm going to be playing a lot more Valhalla now, so that's nice.
No,
it's
every game from the holiday period just like breathed a sigh of relief. And me as well, in terms of like this launch for next gen is without a doubt the best of all time in terms of you have the full backwards compatibility library from last gen, and also I was just like trying to plan out in my head what I'm going to be playing around launch, and so I want to play, obviously Astro's Playroom was the first thing I'm going to dig into, and then Bugsnax and Sackboy have to be up there for me. And then so like I'm thinking like, okay, I wasn't gonna get to Cyberpunk anyway. That gives me a little bit more time to get to AC Valhalla. And then by then you're in December, at which point you have to choose, am I gonna try and get a faster run at Miles Morales, or am I gonna go into Cyberpunk now? It's there's too many games. There's too many.
Yep. Like, and I'm with you. Like, I'm doing the same thing. Like, all right, Bugsnax has to happen, especially since it's a PlayStation Plus, and we all love Bugsnax. Spider-Man, that definitely has to happen. And I'm like, okay, I was gonna play Cyberpunk on my Xbox, but now that got pushed, and I like actually playing Assassin's Creed on my Xbox. So Valhalla's now going to the Xbox, and I've got stuff running on PlayStation. So it kind of worked out for me because I'm kind of with you. I was like, I don't know how the hell I'm supposed to play all this. I want to. Let's be first and foremost. I want to play all of it. I just don't know how to separate time very well with all of it. So giving me a little bit of breathing room, which let's be honest, Valhalla's probably 80, 100 hours.
Yeah.
I'll get to it when I get to it, but I want to make sure, especially with us and all we're doing, we're at least in the cultural zeitgeist of people talking about Cyberpunk.
So yeah, what was I going to say? I want to make it clear, like, I don't think there's anyone who understands the industry a little bit that doesn't think this is a good thing, right? Delays are always pro-consumer. It means you're getting a better product in the end.
Yes.
The only thing that might affect it is people, if they've taken days off to specifically play Cyberpunk at launch, like maybe they have to reschedule things or work around, or maybe just have to like do nothing on their days off. But this is definitely a good thing. Not so easy a decision to make from the company's point of view, and that is evident by the fact that in the 2 months, in the last 2 months, Cyberpunk CD Projekt Red stock has fell by 25%. And we're not going to go into like a whole bunch of numbers here, but in August, when they announced, if people remember, the Witcher Monster Hunt, which was their Pokemon Go style game in the Witcher universe, they peaked in terms of valuation at around $11.2 billion. That is now down to $8.4 billion, which again is still a high number, but that is losing $2.4 billion from the uncertainty surrounding Cyberpunk.
When we're talking about billions, it doesn't seem like a lot, but really in business concept, that kind of is a kick in the nuts, isn't it?
And so CD Projekt Red were very quick to get the word out to investors. I should say as well, and I didn't put this in the doc because I completely forgot, but it's just coming back to me now. The sources inside are basically saying that the staff got notified of this the same time we all did. They got an email just sent out the exact same time as that tweet, which is weird.
That's a dick move. I'll be absolutely honest. No, that's a dick move.
But it's also like, I guarantee if they had sent the email out beforehand, it would have got leaked anyway. So, but like, who cares? Like, let your employees know first. But yeah, again, money being a big concern regarding delays. CD Projekt Red were on a teleconference with investors where they cleared up a lot of things and were doing a Q&A. To which they said, we underestimated time for the very final process. The game is ready for PC and runs great on next-gen consoles and could be shipped on the scheduled date for those platforms. However, even though the game has been certified on current gens by both Sony and Microsoft, some very final optimization processes for such a massive and complex game require a little bit of additional time. So it seems like current gen is the hang-up for this.
The issue.
Yeah.
And I'm even wondering, is it current gen or is it launch? Like the people who still have the launch PS4 and launch Xbox One. Like, is that what's causing it? Because I mean, it's a 7-year-old console, so I kind of assume it is, but again, I don't know. But yeah, it's interesting that it is. Are we in a place where we can say last gen, or are we still waiting until?
I've been mixing it up. I'm in a weird nether zone.
Oh, okay, good. I'm glad it's not just me. I'm like, can I say last gen? Because I don't have it in my hands. So the PS4 and Xbox One era, I find it interesting. That's what's causing this hiccup.
Tim in chat points out they might have gotten too comfortable with things like next gen M2 SSD load times as well. That was also brought up during the teleconference. Someone asked that directly. But because of the way that Cyberpunk and Smart Delivery is working with all that, the version that will be released on December 10th on all the systems, it runs better on next gen, but it doesn't take advantage of next gen features. So it doesn't take advantage of SSD speeds for the large part, other than what the system is already able to do natively. It doesn't take part of the the graphical capabilities to a large extent. You're basically running an Xbox One X version of the game, right? Still at 4K, but not next gen yet. And so they were quick to stress that. And that the actual next-gen versions of these games will be coming later down the line next year. But yeah, it's just the way it seems to be running at the minute is basically like if the PS5 was emulating a PS4, which was running Cyberpunk. So yeah, it's not really to do with SSD speeds or anything like that. It's just some weird hiccup with trying to optimize the game for so many versions and just, some hardware just being left behind. Yeah. But he did mention that someone was saying this before in the teleconference as well, like why you didn't just target next gen from the start. Why were you planning to release this in current gen at all? To which they said targeting future releases probably just for next gen will help out a lot. We are releasing a game which is, to be honest, a next gen game, and we're preparing it to fairly old machines, which possess certain unique challenges that won't occur in future projects, at least not the next one.
That was we're going to be in the.
We're going to be in that gen.
We're going to be we're going to be in that gen. So yeah, that makes sense. I mean, and I feel for the developers on everyone who's making a game, and you've got the bridge game where you're all right. I got to do on Xbox last gen, Xbox One and PS4 and PS5 and the series. I don't even know what that entails, and I'm like, that sucks because I mean, like CDPR just said, they're making 9 versions of this game, and I'm going to take a wild stab at it. It's not just copy paste, drag and drop.
Yeah.
So
9
I can
versions. One of them is Stadia.
Yeah, like Stadia is one of them, and you're like, what?
Yeah. This brings up an interesting point as well with the multiplayer, which, if you remember, Cyberpunk is going to have a multiplayer component. It's being developed after the single player and won't be for another 1 or 2 years. But it brings up the question whether that's going to be available on current gen at all. Last gen, current gen, PS4 and Xbox. They might just say, hey, to hell with it, we're in this gen now. Let's just develop it for this and leave these ones behind. I don't know if that's the case. I don't know how far they're along with that already. I imagine there's a good amount of development being done on it by now. But yeah, if they're going to run into these problems, it might not be worth it to do 9 different versions again and maybe just cut their losses.
That's ridiculous. I wonder, but that's a good question. Like, all right, are we doing this? Is this a bet? A 2-year bet that we're going to do? You want to do it?
Yeah, I can do a bet. I can do a bet. All right. The bet is, will Cyberpunk multiplayer be available on the PS4 and Xbox One?
Yes.
Right. Okay. So, what do you think?
I will take the yes, it will be available.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take a note on that. I don't think it's worth it at this point. I imagine they'll look at the sales of the PS4 and just go, or the PS5 and just go, hey, let's just do it there. There's enough people.
Yeah. I can see them doing that, but I also, if they're going through the trouble now, I kind of like, well, why wouldn't you just go, like, if you're doing it, you're setting it all up right now.
Yeah.
And obviously, multiplayer
Mhm.
is a little bit different, but I wonder if because they're setting it up right now, would it be easier to do the multiplayer when it does come a year or two down the road?
Mhm. Yeah. So that's a bet. We'll see how that goes in a year's time. Another thing I thought was very funny, and it's weird, like with a publicly traded company like CD Projekt Red, you just get people who like are completely out of it and just want to make money, and other people who are like gamers. There was a guy that straight up asked about how this delay is going to affect the Metacritic score, and what Metacritic score will be disappointing to them. To which they said, so when it comes to Metacritic, we continuously aim for a 90 plus game. So nothing has changed there. That remains the goal. As Adam mentioned, this is actually the main reason for postponing the release. We want to give the game extra polish. We'd rather be slightly ashamed right now in front of you than be ashamed in front of players once the game releases. Which, yeah, again,
okay,
delayed game, bad for a while, bad game, bad forever. That's the quote, right? That's Miyamoto, that he said those exact words. Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that shapes up and whether they can achieve a 90 plus. Lofty goal, but doable. And then this is a really good one because this transitions into a whole other debate. When asked about if this 3-week delay will give the team enough time, and if they were worried about the backlash of extended crunch period, obviously, in the past few weeks of the show, we've been covering Cyberpunk 2077 crunch. It's been a big thing in the media.
Yep.
With regards to that leading up to what we thought was the launch, we now know is going to be later. So what does that mean for crunch? Is it extended? The CD Projekt Red clarified regarding crunch, actually, it's not that bad and never was. Of course, it's a story that has been picked up by the media, and some people have been crunching heavily, but a large part of the team is not crunching at all. Since they have finished their work, it's mostly about Q&A and engineers, programmers, but it's not that heavy. Of course, it will be extended a bit, but we have some feedback from the team. They're happy about the extra 3 weeks, so we don't see any threats regarding crunch. Just going off the merits of that quote alone, what's your reaction to that?
I think someone's lying. I'll be absolutely honest on that one. Hopefully they're not. Hopefully they're not. But the fact that it's like regarding crunch, actually, it's not that bad.
Mm-hmm.
I can't speak to it. I don't know. Like I said, I don't have anyone on the inside like Jason Schreier.
Mm-hmm.
But there's something about it. Like this game's been pushed 4 times, and every single time was pretty close to a launch window. I know between like it's supposed to come out in February or March, maybe even April, and then it got pushed
April,
to
April.
It
was April, then it got pushed to September, then November, and now December.
Okay, so yeah, that the first one. Okay, we misjudged it. Let's keep on going. But you have to kind of think that they've been crunching since then, right? Because they're like, all right, release dates come up. Let's finish the polish.
Yeah.
Oh crap, they pushed it back. Let's keep on going. I can't see this being one of those, oh yeah, we're just working a normal, again, whatever is a normal work week for that country. I don't know. It's 40 hours here in the States, so I'll say 40 hours right now. I don't think that's happening. I really, really want to know, like, are they really crunching that hard where people are spending 80, 100 hours? Or what's going on with this?
Mm-hmm.
Even if it is QA, you still got to think QA is going to be like, oh crap, I really got to find everything I can so it doesn't blow up on social media.
Yeah. And again, I think you have to realize who he's speaking to here. It's investors. It's people who, a large portion of them won't care about crunch if it means getting out sooner and getting their dividends sooner. Which actually won't affect it too much. And never keen to stress that. Again, I was reading the whole transcript. Pushing it to from November to December doesn't actually affect when their revenues come in. It always comes in the next quarter, at the start of the next quarter. So yeah, that doesn't affect them too much in that regard. But yeah, it's interesting that you bring up Schreier, obviously a very notable commentator on crunch and crunch culture in the video game industry. He saw this and immediately reached out to some of the sources at CD Projekt Red, and then he tweeted out, CD Projekt Red's Adam Kaczynski, who's the one that answered that question, just sent out an email to staff passed to me, apologising for the comments. He said, I had not wanted to comment on crunch, yet I still did, and I did it in a demeaning and harmful way. What I said was not even unfortunate, it was utterly bad.
Okay.
Yeah. Which when you okay, but he's done this before, right? Made comments, putting his foot in his mouth about crunch, and then later going back and apologizing to not only devs but family members about how bad it's been. And then this happens again today. You're speaking to one community and you're like, yeah, the crunch isn't that bad. And then you're speaking to your devs and you're like, hey, I'm sorry, I messed up there.
I shouldn't have said crunch was not bad.
Yeah.
I've said it before, yet I've yet to actually remember what I'm not supposed to say.
Mm-hmm. And so that strikes me as a little disingenuous. Again, it's and again, we don't have primary sources on this. We don't speak to anyone at CD Projekt Red, or we don't know anyone there.
We can only link things. That's all we can do.
We're getting this all secondhand. Reports I've heard from people I trust do suggest that, of course, a lot of crunch cultures, there are those in the team who are willing to work those extra days and work those long nights and extra hours, and do take pride in the game. I think they all take pride in the game. And they're happy with it and just want to see the game come out and be happy. But of course, that doesn't mean everyone feels that way, right? And you are getting things as well where it's that just doesn't make sense, where people hear about this crunch or this delay news and the crunch news, and they send death threats to devs, which is just sending death threats to anyone doesn't make sense, but sending them to the devs, just piss off. But yeah, it's nuts to me. I don't know how this will affect crunch, whether the question of delaying versus not delaying, whether crunch factored into it. But yeah, based on what they said, these 3 weeks seems like a short time, but it actually doubles the amount of time that they have to fix these bugs and the timeline they're working with. So I can only hope that this delay, one, means that the game is good when it comes out and people can take pride in the work that they've done, and not have to feel ashamed for crunching if they did it voluntarily, but also that it gives time to the people so that they don't have to enforce these mandatory crunches in the weeks leading up to launch.
I agree.
Yeah. So we'll see how that story develops. I'm sure Jason Schreier will make another long expose about all the details that we can't see at this point in time, being in the present. But yeah, crunch continues to be an ever-evolving story in games, so this topic will definitely come up again. But for the meantime, you're going to have to wait a little longer for Cyberpunk 2077. So yeah, going on to our next story now. It's another biggie, if you believe it. We're talking about the Nintendo Direct Mini that was shadow dropped. I can't even remember what day at this point. Thursday? Wednesday.
Yeah,
Wednesday. It was a Wednesday.
Wednesday. Yeah, it was Wednesday.
And yeah, these have been happening pretty much every month since around when they would normally have done their E3 showcase. Seems like just a way to share some news from the third-party devs that they've had contractually agree with. This is probably the best one, I think, so far. So we'll just do a quick run through of what we've seen. So let me just get up the list here. So they started off talking about Bravely Default 2, which a lot of people are excited about.
Excited, yeah. Really excited for that.
Keith specifically is very excited about that game. Me not being a Bravely Default fan, watching the trailer, I thought it looked a bit rough and weird and like a relic of a different time. Maybe it's supposed to look that way. But like it was just weird, like the giant heads and this one
Very
guy,
chibi.
like you're zooming in on him and he's like his mouth's moving weird, like he doesn't have teeth. He's like,
I'm actually very happy you're saying that because I did the same thing. I'm like, bah, 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 and I'm like, that's okay.
And he's
that's
like,
fine. If that's
the character model is like a big tough dude, and his voice is like, "Hey, can you bring me the crystals?" And it's like, it's like, what's the deal with that? But yeah, that might just be a translation thing. The environments looked cool. There were some really cool environment shots. Sort of reminded me a bit of Octopath Traveler, in a good way. But yeah, no. Seems like they were taking a lot of feedback from the demo in March. They were keen to point that out, and I believe they did a video after this direct basically going off what feedback they specifically took to heart and what changes they've made based on that. And then they also gave a release date of 26th of February next year. So yeah, looking forward to that for those who are interested in that series. Then very quickly, Story of Seasons is a Animal Crossing Stardew Valley type game where you're running a farm.
This is Harvest Moon. This is what Harvest Moon turned into.
Oh, is it? Ah, okay.
Yeah. This is there's actually Harvest Moon, and that's still going. But Story of Seasons is an offshot of Harvest Moon by, I want to say, the director, but didn't like where it was going, so he turned it, and then he went a different direction. So Story of Seasons, all the Story of Seasons games are Harvest Moon one-step offshots of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's the Story of Seasons Pioneers of Olive Town, I should say, the subtitle. One of the things that made me laugh in the trailer was like the tagline is "Cultivate your farm and cultivate your life." I was like, whoa, this game's going hard. All right. Surviving the Aftermath looked like a game where I'm just like hard out. It's a post-apocalyptic survival strategy game where you're managing a town. Which
that one actually kind of intrigued me.
Yeah, what did you like about it?
I just the idea that it's that like survival strategy, and I'm starting to really, I need to dig into it a little more, but I'm really starting to like that idea of, I can't remember, is it like turn-based or is it just a normal survival strategy? I don't remember that one.
It reminds me of I don't know if you ever heard or played Banished, but Banished is another like city management game. It's not post-apocalyptic, but it's like pilgrim time, and you're like dealing with the winter and whether you have enough food for your people and stuff like that. So I imagine it's like on a clock that you can pause in any time or speed up.
That seems kind of cool, because I mean, most of the time when zombie games are like kill zombie, find stuff, which I'm sure this is still it, but I hate that I'm going to say this. The resource management idea actually kind of really intrigues me to at least possibly take a look at it.
One of the things I did think was cool in the trailer was the outer world map, which looked a bit more like Civ and a bit more grand strategy. So that's the one thing I thought was cool. But like, I'm so worn out on apocalypse stuff.
Yeah,
seen as the fact that we're living in one. So you know, I'm okay with not trying to escape to those worlds. Immortals Phoenix Rising is coming to the Switch same day as PS4 and Xbox One. Boy, does it look rough on the Switch.
Yeah.
So like
about that.
Looks like some 540p action, lower than 30 FPS a lot of times in that trailer. I imagine this is a game where they were like, clearly, I don't think they're even hiding this at this point, is just like ripping off Breath of the Wild. So they thought, hey, if we're targeting Breath of the Wild, let's put it on the Switch. But I don't think they realized like, oh, this isn't gonna work.
It doesn't look good at all. At least on the Series X and PS5, it looks good. Interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just like, oh, you could have optimized that just a little bit more to make it run just a little bit smoother.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think anyone will be playing this on the Switch by choice. Then very quickly they went through their like sizzle reel quickfire round. Back again, Champions of Vestoria, cool. Griftland Switch Edition, which looked a bit like Darkest Dungeon, but again post-apocalypse. So yeah. And Tropico 6 is coming to the Switch as well. Tropico is a series that I always wanted to get into but never did. It's another like city management game where you're running your country, but it's from the point of a corrupt dictator. So you're encouraged to do some like nasty things for your people. It's fun. I don't think I'll be playing it on Switch again. Like, looked rough, looked real rough.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's a good fit for the Switch. I mean, other gens or PC, yeah, sure, absolutely, but yeah, too rough for me.
Like even in the screenshot, right? Like if I bring it back up the Immortals Phoenix Rising screenshot, right? When that game is standing still, frozen, it looks fine on the Switch because it's not moving. But Tropico, I don't know what's going on, man. Like, look at those edges.
Yeah, that's
what's going on there,
God.
man.
Oh God.
Anyway, I don't know why you'd play a strategy game on a Switch anyway. Anytime I hear like Civs coming to mobile or anything, it's like, why? Why do people do it? And then what I think is the juiciest two announcements of this Direct is, and we'll just cover them both at once, Hitman 3 and Control both come into the Switch via the cloud.
Yeah. That was crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I was not expecting that at all.
It was weird. You saw the Hitman trailer and like, how is this going to run on the Switch? And it's like cloud, and it's like, oh, okay. Hitman did not have a release date. Control was available now. If you go to the Playhouse YouTube channel, you can see me playing a little bit of the trial version, just to see how it runs. I was very pleasantly surprised by my time with it. Yeah, it's. I was really interested to see what was under the hood. And I'm still trying to figure that out. I'm pretty sure I'm going to do a write-up on it. But it's basically a company called Ubitus, which you might not have heard of, but have been doing this sort of stuff for a while in Japanese markets and Asian markets. They've been putting a bunch of cloud versions of games out there. Obviously, Japan's internet infrastructure is very different, as we've talked about to death on this podcast. So they're able to do it there, but they want it to expand out to Western markets. And I was keen to see how badly it ran, but no, man, it was smooth. At the very start, you're allowed to choose from two options: performance mode and enhanced graphics mode. I wasn't able to try enhanced graphics mode, but it's running on PC hardware. You will have ray tracing, right? So like, not possible on the Switch natively, right? So you're actually getting a little bit more. Obviously, it can't do 4K, right? The PCs in the back end, they can do the 4K, but because it's going to Switch, they'll not be able to output in 4K anyway, so that you're not getting any benefit that way. But ray tracing is something that will make a difference even at 1080p, so you're getting a little bit more of a bump and a little bit closer to the likes of PS5 and Xbox Series X. But no, man, it ran really, really smoothly. Noticed a few very, very tiny frame drips here and there. But for the large part, I could have played that game the whole way through if it was that stable. And yeah, it was like, okay.
I'm going to have to try this because I've played Control.
Yeah.
I need to pick it back up. And even on my PS4 Pro, there were times like coming out of load or pause screens, and I'd turn the camera real fast and it would just jerk its ass around and like not really know what was going on.
Right.
Like, and so I want to try this, and I want to compare the beginnings of on a PS4 Pro and on Switch Cloud Edition, which is weird to say.
I don't know if that picked up on the microphone. That was not a gunshot outside my window. That was a firework.
All right.
In Ireland, we have fireworks for Halloween celebrations, so if you hear that, that's what that is. But yeah, they stressed in the trailer for both of these footage representative video quality under optimum conditions, and you need persistent high-speed internet. I don't have super good internet. I have decent internet. And like, there are multiple people in my house, and I think they were using the internet when I was playing this, and it was still fine. It was totally fine. And so like, I've played xCloud, I've played Stadia, I've tried all these things a little bit, and it's always like, they're close, but they're not quite there. This, I'm optimistic about Cloud. I think it's
really
way sooner than I thought it was before. Yeah, big time.
Oh wow! All right.
And again, I'm going to talk about it a little bit in the write-up I'm going to do, but what's more exciting for me than, like, say, okay, so you can bring Control Cloud Edition to PS5 now, right? You can bring it to PC versions, and we just have that. What's more exciting to me is specifically tailoring these for the Switch. Could extend the life cycle, right? Everyone talks about the Switch Pro needing to like catch up with these next gen stuff. If you're able to run these games with ray tracing and 30 to maybe 60 FPS at times, right?
Yeah, it's fine.
What we said before is like 4K, there is a difference, but whether that many people will notice or care is a different thing entirely. So if you're able to get 1080p running these like next gen games on your Switch, that's going to extend that life cycle a ton.
Yeah.
And again,
question for you then.
Yeah.
Were you hardwired in, or were you Wi-Fi'd? And
Wi-Fi.
Also Wi-Fi, handheld, or actually on TV?
On TV.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. Didn't try it because I was capturing footage at the time and I had a limited time. But if you want to try it yourself on your own internet, they do offer a trial version that you could just download in the eShop. And then, like for a limited time, you can play through the beginning portion of the game, see if it runs okay for free. Which I think is important, right? And I think it's interesting to see Nintendo do this because I didn't think they would enter the cloud space for a long time. But and it would be different if it was just Control. But the fact that Hitman is doing this as well, and that's two different publishers, and they're both specifically targeting the Switch, I feel like Nintendo had to give the green light to that. And I don't think Nintendo would give the green light to anything they weren't 100% sure would work. And so I think they were impressed by how well this worked.
Well, remember, too, if this is the same company that's been doing this for a while, then RE7 Cloud Edition happened in Japan. Yeah. So they've known about it because that was, 2 years ago, I think? So this is something, like, for all we know, that's been kind of in the works for a while.
Oh, yeah.
Which I freaking love. You're right, this is exciting because as much as I do want a Switch Pro, like, really, really bad, I still don't think you need to actually go after the PS5 or the Series X or S. I think you just do what you're doing, but native, like 1080 60. That's all I really want from Nintendo. And I think, especially with this cloud now, that they might be able to offer it a lot easier on their end, and then a lot easier with third parties.
And so I think, like, maybe not for like a fighting game, like for people who care about that, but like I feel like those type of games, you're not getting them in the cloud even if it run perfectly, because native's always going to be better. But like games like, say, if they put Bugsnax on the Switch and it was cloud version, or if they put
fun.
Immortal Phoenix Rising could have benefited from a cloud version, I'm sure. So things like that I think is going to be very interesting, and I wonder if Nintendo are looking at this and maybe wondering, hey, we don't need xCloud on our service, we don't need Stadia or Luna, and we don't need to develop our own streaming service. We could just, on a case-by-case basis, let you buy the cloud version of the games you want already.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. Another, like, cloud gaming is going to be a bigger and bigger story as things go on. And yeah, I'm interested to see Nintendo step into the field in this regard.
Yeah.
So the next story then, No More Heroes 3, which went off a little bit, coming in 2021, but they shadow dropped No More Heroes 1 and 2 on the Switch that day. So that's available now. Always love when they do that, when there's a new game in a series coming out and they just like put like either remasters or just ports on the system.
Here's the catch up for you. Come on.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because No More Heroes is a series I hear a lot of people talk about, but I know nothing of, and I've never played it or watched anyone play it. So I feel like people like me could get very easily sucked in that way. So that's good. Love a good shadow drop. And then they closed out the show with two announcements. One being from HAL Laboratories, who you might know from Kirby games, first party Nintendo Studio. They shadow dropped a little game called Part-Time UFO, which is cute and fun. Good time killer. I'm probably going to, I don't know whether I'm going to stream this game at some point this week or maybe record some gameplay and just do an impressions video. But yeah, it sort of caught me off guard and I was like, yeah, why not? A little Part-Time UFO. I put out a poll on the Playhouse Twitter, and let me just check to make sure. But I asked people from the day's announcements what their favourite shadow drop was. I think Part-Time UFO won in a landslide.
I I mean, it's HAL Laboratories though too. So
Yeah, but yeah, part-time UFO won with 44%.
Jesus,
Yeah.
it looks awesome. Like I said, it's HAL. We kind of know the pedigree that we're getting, and especially when it looks so stinking cute and just simple, and it really is one of those, like, it's a chill game. I'm planning on picking it up just to play. I mean, there's a co-op, so Rose and I will
Co-op
probably
mode,
play
yeah.
it. Yep, I think that'll be great. I love it. I think I can't wait.
And then it closed out the show with Hyrule Warriors: Edge of Calamity. That game looked bonkers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
the big like elephant-looking things and the scale of that game and the combat that's going on looked super, super good. A great way to tide people over until Breath of the Wild 2. You've been playing this a little bit, haven't you?
I beat it.
Nice.
I did the entire demo. I did the entire demo in one sitting. I'm actually going to do a first impressions on it. I'll probably get it edited and get it out sometime next week.
Yeah.
But I haven't played too many of the like Dynasty Warrior games or the Musou games. I played a little bit of the of original Hyrule Warriors, and it took a little bit for me to kind of understand the concept of the game. I know it's just mash buttons and kill a lot of enemies, but they really added in a lot more to this than I was anticipating. Like, shield surfing is an attack, which I think is freaking amazing, and just the amount of combos that you can do with them with Link, because I got to play as Link, Zelda, and not Mifa, Link, Zelda, and Impa, and I had the most fun playing as Impa. That way, like, just their move sets are so different, and they really are like completely different characters. It's not just kind of a copy and paste thing. I will say it chugged a little bit. I had a couple, like, I was looking at everything, like, oh, let me look at the grass. What's this grass look like? All right. How's this move set look like? Oh, okay. So it doesn't have the true, like, legit Nintendo polish.
Right.
But I agree that it's close enough, and I think it's going to do a good job at holding us over, waiting for Breath of the Wild 2. What story was introduced to, I'm not going to spoil anything, was actually pretty interesting. I want to see how this is connected, because this is a legit prequel to Breath of the Wild. So I want to finish the story, because the story alone was like, okay, you have my attention now. How does this relate back to Breath of the Wild, and how do we move forward to Breath of the Wild 2?
Yeah. For me, this is a perfect way to cap off a direct with a Nintendo beloved property in Zelda. Love demos. We stand demos.
Yes.
I love when demos save data carries over to the full game, and we
That
love
made me
shadow
really
drops.
happy.
And
Yes.
that's the Holy Trinity, baby. You got it all. So yeah, good on them. I don't know if I'll be able to play that demo, but like, I'm definitely intrigued. I haven't finished Breath of the Wild.
Okay.
So that's probably the priority before I jump into this. But yeah, it's super, super cool how like close it is visually, and the prequel event, like explaining some of the bit more lore of Breath of the Wild is very cool to me. So I thought that was a very good way to cap off the direct. And yeah, that is the last partner direct of this year. So yeah, hopefully the next direct, I don't know when it was going to be, but some more first party stuff maybe. Who knows? Breath of the Wild 2.
That's kind of what I'm hoping. They're very specific about this is the last partner direct of the year. So I'm wondering if we're going to get like a quick, here's a first party direct in November, or something during the Game Awards.
Yeah. Game Awards is a good shout for Breath of the Wild 2 trailer. I never thought about that, but yes, 100%. So yeah, that was a good direct. You ticked all the right boxes. So next is another development heavy story. Halo Infinite director has left the project. This is Chris Lee. The article was originally written by Jason Schreier again over at Bloomberg. But Chris Lee, who oversaw the production of Halo Infinite at 343, which is developing the game for Microsoft, is no longer working on it. He confirmed to Bloomberg News on Wednesday. Lee is the second top director on the project to leave in the past 2 years. The game was delayed in early August, however, following poor fan reception to an early public version, which I thought was the the demo that they released, but I don't think that is what it is. I think it's, or maybe it was following poor fan reception from an early public version. So that would have to be that demo where the thing, I forget what you call it, but the thing's talking to you and it looks weird. So yeah, from an early per fan reception to an early public version, Lee's role was sidelined for a few weeks later, as Microsoft brought in Halo veteran Joe Staten to lead the single player campaign and another senior executive Pierre Hintz to run multiplayer. I have a lot of friends who are really, really big into Halo, probably their favorite gaming franchise of all time. And every time one of these news articles drop, like there's development troubles or a director leaves, they're always like, "Yikes!" And if they're yikesing about it, it's in trouble. Again, they mentioned this is the second director to leave. I
think this game is in a lot more trouble than we all know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just like you said, the second director leaving so far, it's like, oh, what's going on over there? And was it just the fan reception of the demo, or when when Xbox hyped up the gameplay the first time, when we all watched it and all of us were like, this is next gen? What?
Mm-hmm.
And was it the idea that they focused more on because Halo Infinite is supposed to be a more open world?
Mm-hmm.
And was that the idea? And I know they said they were going to open world and they like took the hit on graphics, but I think they weren't prepared for the backlash of how hard of a hit they took.
Right. Going back to that like showcase they had for the demo, it was definitely like there was a bit of a debate in the internet spheres where it's like people initially we're taken aback by like, this doesn't look next gen at all, and it's like Halo fans and people who liked what it looked like basically saying it's an artistic choice, right? They're going for like more of an old feel of Halo, but like I wasn't convinced by that personally. There was like things that like, okay, that's the art style, but like why is there just like lots of texture pop in here in these specific parts? And like if you remember that like one scene where it's a zoom in and that weird ogre looking thing, and like his shoulder was like fighting with his neck, and I was just clipping in and out.
It was weird.
And it's like, that's a pre-rendered cutscene where you're like zooming in on the guy. Like, how do you get that? How does that slip by? So yeah, I think with this specific director leaving, right, I think the story's pretty clear, right? His role was sidelined after this. They brought in these other two veterans to lead the charge, and he's still a Microsoft employee despite leaving this specific project, but he was just like, hey, if I'm not going to be the top guy in this project, I probably don't have anything more to contribute, so just put me on something else. So I think he's probably working on either like Halo DLC or some other stuff, but I don't think it's too much of a like drama thing where it's like there was a big fight somewhere in the 343 offices.
I think it was just like you said, just the okay, well, I'm off this, so put me on something else. I agree.
And Schreier thought to mention the development of Halo Infinite has been rocky. In August 2019, 343 Industries lost its creative director Tim Longo and executive producer Mary Olson. At the time, the company said that the overall creative vision and production of the game remains led by Chris Lee. So that means the creative vision is in someone else's hands now. It'll be interesting to see how long a delay that game has, right? Obviously, the big focus for them was getting this out at launch of Series X, and they reiterated, like, we're going to meet this. This is going to be your Halo game that we bundle with this Xbox. And then, like, once that slips, once you're, like, past that point already where you can't make that, you could probably delay it for, like, another 6 months, 8 months.
I don't think this is coming out until September.
Mm-hmm.
That's the earliest I see it coming out. I will be shocked if it comes out in like March. There's no way.
Yeah. I was always and this is like before we even saw anything of Halo Infinite, right? I think it was just the time where that teaser trailer was shown and that got people excited. I was always talking with my friends about it and what they wanted from the Halo, and they were like always like a return to classic, like they do these things in these older games. It's like that would be fine for me. I'm like, yeah, but I hate to compare the two, but like I was looking at what Sony was offering at the time and how God of War, and I'm talking about the PS2 games now, the original God of War, was such a big hit for them at the time and was such a great showcase of what the PlayStation could do, and but it was a product of its time. And as by the time you're past God of War 3 and releasing Ascension, Kratos as a character doesn't vibe with people anymore. The quick time events and like button mashing gameplay wasn't. We're past that, right? There were games doing way more innovative things, and so Sony decided to change it up. They're like, okay, we can still use this God of War IP, but we're going something completely different now and more in tune with what gaming has evolved into. And so I was always looking at Halo as like, I wish they could do something like that. You know what I mean? Like first-person shooters at the time, like Halo revolutionized it. It set the bar for what a first-person shooter should be. But even going back to Halo 4 and 5, it wasn't selling consoles. It wasn't good. And a lot of people said
it wasn't good.
Even if it was good, I don't think it would have sold consoles. And so I was looking towards Halo Infinite. Like, if this could be like a God of War for them, like a God of War 2018 for them, they could really pull something off here. They could really make Halo a big franchise again. But like, it was the story where Halo and Gears and Forza weren't cutting it for people anymore, and they needed to do something different. And I don't think that demo back around E3 time did it for anyone.
Yeah, I reading the chat. There's a lot of people, and like Cal saying like it reminded him of old school Halo, and that's what he wanted, and it's exactly what you're saying. And I didn't ever thought of the concept of God of War and how you like link that together. But you're right. Like I played God of War years ago, and I tried to go back to it, and I'm like, this doesn't vibe with me. This doesn't work. So I was actually very hesitant to get into 2018 God of War, and like, from the get go, I'm like, okay, totally different. Everything is completely different. They revamped everything for me to enjoy this game because they learned. I mean, Cory Barlog just changed it to fit the times, and I think you hit the nail on the head. I wonder if that's what they're trying to do now. Like, you can't go back and do the same thing and expect the same result. Look at Quake Legends. I think that's what the game's called. Quake Arena. No, I'm sorry, Quake Arena. I want to say people really didn't like the game, if I remember correctly. And it was just this. Yeah, wasn't there was a game? Yeah, Quake Arena came out maybe a year and a half ago, and they like hyped it up of like, this is old school Quake, and you're gonna love it, and no one liked it.
Are you thinking of Quake Champions?
Champions, yes, Champions,
yeah, okay.
Not Arena, Champions. Yeah.
I actually like what I played with that game, though I'm not a Quake player, but like I like that.
So it's one of those things, and I maybe I just heard from the only bad side of Quake Champions, but I agree. Like I was actually going to jump into this Halo. I'll be absolutely honest. I have played 2 hours of the original Halo, and then most of the multiplayer for Halo 4 because that's what my friends were playing. But yeah, I was not impressed. I mean, if you're going to be like, this is the game that you need to play on your Series X, you got to hit it out of the park.
And just quickly, Kale Burritos in chat asked us how we feel about the multiplayer being free to play. I think that's a smart move, purely because when you look at it, Halo Infinite is going to be bundled with Game Pass. So a large portion, if not the majority of Xbox players, are going to be getting the game for free anyway. And with multiplayer, it's always you want as many people on as possible at launch to really hype up that community, especially when the amount of Xboxes in circulation are way lower than they were during the 360 days. So you need to pad out that player base as much as possible. So creating as low a barrier to entry as possible is important for the multiplayer to succeed, and it also isn't that big of a monetary hit for them. So I think it's smart. Tim asks as well about things like paying per colors per armor piece. I'm going to need a source on that. I never read anything about that, but I'll admit that I'm not like super in tune with all the rumors and stuff going into Halo Infinite. But I think the free to play is a very, very good idea. But yeah, going back to Halo as their flagship, right? I think we're in a very different world of Xbox than we were when maybe Halo Infinite started pre-production, right? Where maybe they're not going to look to Halo as their flagship anymore, right? Because you look at FPS games, they're not selling consoles like they were, right? So you try to make Halo Infinite have a more deep story, try to make it open world, have some RPG elements. Guess what? Sony's already light years ahead of you in that front. They've got games. That's their pattern. They know how to do that like clockwork. You're not going to beat them on that. One thing that Xbox now have that Sony has no way of even catching up to is the large open dialogue, just massive RPG in Starfield and Elder Scrolls.
Yes.
So I think Phil Spencer's team is looking at Bethesda right now, and they're like, maybe that's our flagship now. Because even if Sony can't really buy anyone that's capable of doing that at this point, and starting a studio from scratch would take way too long. So I think that if they look to Bethesda as basically a model for like, okay, this can be what our plethora of first-party games can be now. So I think maybe Halo at this point, maybe just try and appeal to the fans, try and get as many people happy as possible, but maybe not try to think of it as your flagship or a console seller anymore, because I just don't think it is, unless you again pull a God of War and go drastically different.
I don't know, man. I that Halo fan base is like deep.
Mm-hmm.
It was selling the idea of talking to the Halo fans like, oh, we're getting Infinite. That's going to be a launch day console or launch day with the console. They'll buy it. I still think like Halo. It's going to be a hard transition for people to wrap their heads around Bethesda if they go complete first party when it comes to like releasing on Xbox, and that's it. It's exclusive on Xbox. That's going to be a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people if it happens. We don't know because technically the purchase is not done yet. It won't be done until like 2021. But Halo, I think fans were wanting. I don't know. I'm not a big Halo fan, but how I see it is you got it split. You got the Halo fans who want, if it's good, if it's what I remember, let me go with it. And you got the Halo fans that are like, man, this God of War game or these games that actually had like a story behind it, and like you could see the progression of what's going on, and like you said, the RPG elements within it. I still think Halo. I agree with you. I don't know if it is like your first party absolute banger, but I think it's still one that will sell consoles if done right. Because I mean, this was going to be the first Halo to launch on a launch with a new console since. And someone correct me. I want to say Halo 3 launched with the 360. So
I don't remember.
I really don't know, but I like. What we're seeing is actually Xbox missing the integral part that PlayStation has. Mascots.
Yeah.
Ratchet and Clank, Nathan Drake, Spider-Man. Hell, I'll even throw Astro in there now. And like Xbox doesn't have that. They have Master Chief.
Yeah.
And that's about it. Which I'm hoping this Bethesda buying Bethesda actually like pushes that to have them having more mascots, more games that oh yeah, Xbox is connected to this. I mean, right now Halo would be like Master Chief and Ori, Forza. But you're right, Forza kind of got boring, and I love Forza, and it was like, all right, I need something new, and hopefully the new Forza, it's great. I want it to be great, but yeah, it's just missing that next step that Nintendo and Sony have.
Yeah,
and maybe you're, and hopefully you're right. Like maybe they not graphically, but tonally change it just enough, tweak it just enough where it does lean more God of War 2018 than Halo 2.
Yeah.
Or Halo. Actually, screw Halo 5. I'll say Halo 5 because apparently the single player campaign, okay, multiplayer sucks. Again, someone correct me.
Yeah. And just to be clear, I'm not looking for Master Chief to become more edgy and go climb up a mountain. That's not.
God, no.
I'm not like asking for that story-driven game. I just want like Master Chief.
I want to know I'm in next gen.
Advance with the people who grew up playing Halo.
Yes,
because Kratos did. Kratos is drastically different now than he ever was, and I want Master Chief to do the same in a way that makes sense for him. But yeah, I think like get people out of Halo's minds for a little while, and like just make sure that this is going to be a hit, because if it's not, that might be the end of Halo for a while. I hate to say, but like if this is a bomb, 343 might do something else.
When was the last Halo?
They did a lot of stuff with Master Chief Collection, but the last Halo was 5.
Yeah, came out in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
October 27th, 2015. I couldn't
Yeah.
remember. Wow, that's a woo.
Mm-hmm. Just the one Halo game on that gen. That's it.
Yep.
So yeah, moving on now to some of our other news stories that we're just going to give a brief mention to. This is going to be like a little bit of an entertainment portion. So Assassin's Creed announced a live action series coming to Netflix.
I'm cool with this.
Not much more information past that, just a little like logo and then like the Jesper Kid, Ezio's family playing in the background. The possibilities, John. The sheer possibilities of what this series could be. Like,
endless.
2 years ago, right, before The Witcher, if you had said, like, they're bringing an Assassin's Creed live action series, I would have rolled my eyes. After, in a post-Witcher world and a post-Castlevania world, I'm like, okay, now I'm listening.
Let's go. You have my attention. You've proven yourself 2 times with Witcher as a live action and then animated Castlevania. All right, let's go. Let's just do it. I'm more than cautiously optimistic about this.
Yeah. And again, like the movie, as far as I know, was like average, mediocre.
Awful. It was stupid fun. I'll say it that much.
Yeah. They played Ezio's family as a theme music. I think that's just because it's an iconic Assassin's Creed thing. I don't want them to do Ezio's story or Altair story or any basically story that we've had Assassin's Creed wise before. Because I always think that if you try to redo stories that were made for games, made to be interactive, it's never going to work. And that's why video game media and movies and TV didn't work for a long time. But I think if you provide something that is supplementary, right, additional, not replacing, I think they can do like wonderful things with that. And so, like,
well, I mean, what's weird about that though is The Witcher is more it's the books, and thankfully I read the first 2 short story books, so I knew what was going on, and I still freaking loved it. Like it and I think you said it right when it was like supplemental, because it actually kind of filled in some of those holes when reading the Sword of Destiny and I can't remember the other one right off the top of my head, but yeah, they did a good job of like grabbing the pieces that they needed to grab, putting it together, and then filling in what they needed to, so that way you would catch on, minus the fact that you're in 3 different time periods watching this show. I will be absolutely honest, that took me like, this is not right at all. And then Rose and I like took a step back. We're like, I bet you we're watching it in 3 different time frames. Yeah. And then it all came together.
So yeah, again, just the possibilities ran wild in my mind and again, they just showed a logo. They didn't show anything more detail, anything more. But like, you could do Assassin's Creed Brotherhood just pre or post Ezio, right? Or what I really want is a lot of Animus stuff. We've been like deprived that in the recent Assassin's Creed games, and that was always my favorite part, is that Assassin's Creed during the Ezio era felt like a Dan Brown novel, right? Da Vinci Code, Inferno, that type of stuff. And so I want lots of Animus stuff. You could do I don't know if you ever played Revelations, but there's a character in that, Subject 16, who was the person they were testing on before Desmond, and he's like, he went nuts and is
that
would sucked into the Animus somehow. If they did like his journey, that would be fantastic. But yeah, there's just so many ways they could do it. And also, if this live action series fails, they've also got more coming. They're planning some animated and anime titles, all again coming to Netflix. So there's a lot that can be done right here. I think again the possibilities are spicy. They're getting me hot, John.
Correct me if I'm wrong too. Isn't The Division? Didn't Ubisoft say the Division movie is now it's going to be on Netflix?
They said a bunch of stuff. There's like the headline for that every week. Like, I'm still waiting on the Hyper Light Drifter by the Castlevania guy. I know he's doing Blood Is This right now, and I love that show. But like, where's my Hyper Light Drifter? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I want that really bad.
Yeah,
I freaking love that game.
And in that sort of vein, the Uncharted movie has wrapped up production as well, according to a tweet that they sent out from the official Twitter. A little bit surreal, considering like how long ago this all started and how many times it's like Uncharted movie isn't getting anywhere, changed directors, it's completely dead, and now just all of a sudden Tom Holland got in there and it's like, hey, it's done.
Yeah, it's done.
We bit it.
I remember when this was announced, it was 4 years ago, and I was like, wait, what? Tom Holland's gonna be young Nathan Drake? I was like, okay. And I think it's hilarious too, because Mark Wahlberg was tapped to be Nathan Drake, and now he's Sully.
Yeah.
And it's just like a shuffling of the cards, and it's done. And you're like, wait, when did it start?
Yeah, super real. Again, not much information past that. And again, it'll be a while in post-production before we're able to put out a trailer and we're able to sort of get an idea of what the feel of this is. I am more hesitant about this purely because of how long it took and how like from another time it feels. Like Tom Holland's a good actor, Mark Wahlberg's a good actor, but like this feels like the type of video game movie you would get in the mid 2000s, which were never good. But like, I'm hopeful. Uncharted is a great story and a great cast of characters, and you do brilliant stuff with it. But we'll just have to see about that one.
Yeah.
So that's all the headlines that we're going to cover on today's show. We actually managed to keep it under 2 hours, which I'm very surprised with. I did have to cut some stuff. So yeah, this has been Playhouse Live. We are live on twitch.tv/playhouselive right now. If you're in chat, stick around after we're done here because we'll be doing a quick post-show Q&A if you have any questions about what we covered today or something that's just on your mind about video games.
Or this.
Or the DualSense, if you wanna reach out and touch the screen while John just holds the controller in front of you can do that. But yeah, if you're listening to this in podcast form, you can do that as well. And yeah, we do this every week live on our Twitch channel. And yeah, that was a good show, I thought. So yeah, until next week, I've been Finn and he's been John, and we will see you next Saturday. Until then,
bye.